All right, this is phase 12 Monday. We are doing straight sets for 4 rounds of 25 seconds of work, 25 seconds of rest with 1 minute transition in between each station.
All right, so the first thing we're going to have for this day is going to be deadlifts. We have a couple different modification levels of this. When we're teaching this, it's probably going to take the longest time to demo, so remember, just keep that in mind when you're demoing everything else, and don't worry about taking too long, because it does take a lot of different cues for this one. So we have 3 different levels, like I said. First thing is going to be kettlebell deadlifts. So what we're going to do for this, we have our kettlebell here. For this one, we want people to be doing this if they have never done deadlifts before, if they're newer, or if they cannot do more than 50 pounds. So if they can only go up to 50 pounds, we're going to use kettlebells. So what they're going to do, first thing, start off with the kettlebell right in between their feet. Feet are going to be shoulder width. Then what they're going to do, slight bend in the knees, hips are going to go back, then hips back, grabbing the weight. Then what we're going to do, pick up the weight, we're going to press the floor away, stand up, nice and tall, all the way up, then hips back, rest the weight on the ground. So a couple things with this, like I said, press the ground away. We want to keep our back flat the whole time, and then when we're lifting it, we do want to make sure that they are resting it every time. So we do want them to actually pick it up, down, set it down in between. Well, what I'd say is they should be able to take their hands off, but they don't have to. But it is a good way to kind of keep it in their mind that they do want to rest it on the ground every time, so they can reset their grip or whatever they need to do for that. So this is the first level, like I said, beginners or people who cannot go over 50 pounds. Now the next modification level is going to be trap bar deadlifts. So if they have good enough, or they have good form, and they can go more than 50 pounds, we're going to go over to a trap bar. So for this, we're going to do same starting position, feet shoulder width. We're going to have the bar, so imagine the bar continues on. It's going to go right over the middle of our feet. Then, same thing to begin, knees slightly bent, hips are going to go back. Going to grab the handles on the sides here. So a couple things that are a little different about this one. Before we start the lift, we want to make sure we're taking the slack off the bar. So we want to pull up on the bar, create tension, engage our core, engage our back there, engage our legs, but we are not lifting yet. So pull up on the bar, create that tension. Then we're pressing away, standing up nice and tall, all the way back down, resting on the ground. Same things, up, pressing away, resting down on the ground. Now, a lot of things are the same. Same thing, we want to rest in between every rep, reset our grip if they want to, keep the back flat, driving the hips back, pressing the ground away, it's all the same. A couple things that are a little bit different, just the position of their hips are going to be a little bit different, and then we do want to make sure we're taking the slack off the bar with this one as well. So that's really important for this one as well as the next version that we have. So after the trap bar, we have a couple set up with different weights. They can add weight as well. If they have good form and they can go heavier, we come over to the straight bar. Really, we don't want them coming in this unless they have really good form because we don't want them to hurt themselves. So just keep that in mind when we're progressing people over here. A lot of people can't do this, but we want to make sure that they're safe. So what we're going to do for this, we're going to come up to the bar. We want our feet about shoulder width apart. What they're going to do, knees slightly bent, same things. Hips are going back, reaching down, grabbing the bar. We want our arms straight down or slightly outside of our shins. So right about the edge of the grip. For most people, kind of varies a little bit, but that's about where we want to be. And we want the bar right over the middle of our feet, so close to our shins here. Then, same thing as with the trap bar. We're going to take the slack off the bar, so we're pulling, creating that tension, pressing the ground away, standing up nice and tall. Then hips go back, rest on the ground every time. So a lot of things are the same with this. Our back is flat the whole time. We're creating that tension before we lift, taking the slack off, and then pressing the ground away. One thing that to look out for that's a little different is we just want to make sure we are keeping the bar close to our shins, and we are not, we're not swinging out or anything like that, and then just standing up nice and tall all the way at the top. For this one, we will have lots of different weights set out as well, so we will not have to be changing a ton of weights, so there'll be different levels for this one. So that's the first station. One thing to keep in mind when you're dividing people at this station is people will be using different weights and different modifications. So if you have a lot of people that you know do heavier weights, probably don't want to put them all at the same station because then you're going to be changing a bunch of weights up and adding a ton of weights, which can take a lot of time. So try to split people up with people that use different weights than them. Same thing if you have a lot of people that use modifications. If you have 3 people that all use a trap bar, you probably don't want to put them all at the same station. So try to split them up just so you have a good variety of people in each group so they aren't all using the same bar or the same weights when you know. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're dividing people up. One way you can do that as well is just ask people before you divide them who uses trap bar and then put them at different stations. That's a good thing. I'm just trying to keep that in mind. So that is the first station. Second thing we have is going to be over here here, out of the rubber, we're going to have dumbbell crush grip row. So for this, we're going to grab one dumbbell. All we're going to be doing is pressing in on the sides of the dumbbell. We're going to be in a hip hinge position, so knees bent, back is flat here. Pressing in on the sides of the dumbbell, so we're crushing it. Then rowing up to the bottom of our rib cage, back down, all the way up and back down. So there's rowing, keeping the elbows tight, crushing the sides of the dumbbell here. Big thing here, just make sure we're keeping the back flat the whole time, and then try to encourage them to crush the weight. There's not really a way we can tell if they're crushing it, but just kind of keep encouraging them to do that. There isn't a modification for this. If someone really needs to, we can modify it to something like a box supported row or something, but we want to try to get everyone doing the crush grip row if they're able to get into that position. All right, so that is the station over here. Today we are recording this station as well as deadlifts. So those two stations that we just did are the ones that we will be recording for Monday. Third station is going to be over by the wall here. We're going to have a medicine ball side toss. So for this, we have the main version and one progression for it. What we're going to do, have our feet parallel to the wall there. We're going to start with the medicine ball by our front hip. We're going to load it up on the back hip, turn and face the wall, and then underhand toss it into the wall. Now, a couple things we want to look for when we're doing this. We do want to have powerful tosses, so as hard as they can into the wall. We also want to make sure that we have a couple things we don't want to do. So we don't want to be turning our body like this. All right, look out for that. Some people tend to do that. And then we want to make sure they're not keeping it too high. So we don't want to have it high. We want it by our waist. We do not want them having it away from our body. And we do not want people going with one hand. So what some people tend to do is go like this with one hand, crossing the wall, and then one hand into the wall. We don't want that. We want both hands under. They're turning underhand tossing with both hands into the wall. So that's just something to look out for when you are watching this station. Again, load back by the back hip, turn, hip, explode in the wall, into the wall, every time like that. Now, this one we're going to switch sides each round, so we'll face one way, and next round face the other way. We do have one modification. It's going to be a progression for this station. So once they get that movement down, adding a little bit of challenge here, they can do a step side toss. So for that, they're stepping towards the wall, back, stepping towards the wall. So everything is the same. They're just taking that front foot, stepping, driving towards the wall, allows them to get a little more push off from the back, and then turning into the wall. The reason we want to make sure that they have the movement down is because that adds a little more coordination, a little more complicated. So make sure they get that movement down before you add in the step for that one. When you're choosing the weight for that one as well, it doesn't really matter how heavy they go. They can go as heavy as they want, as long as they're throwing powerfully. So if they're throwing it slowly, we do not want them to be going heavier, as long as they can make a powerful toss. Station number 4, we're going to be over here on the turf. We are going to have slider reverse lunge. So for this, we'll have sliders set up around here. All they're going to do, have a slider under one foot. The other foot is going to be stationary on the turf. We're going to take that foot, slide it back, get our knee close to the ground, stay upright, back nice and tall, down, stay upright, nice and tall. So just look for people leaning over. We don't want that, and we also don't want people doing anything like this. We want to try to get that knee as close to the ground as we can. With this one, we're going to switch legs each round. So we'll use one leg, next round we will use the other leg. We can weight this, so we're going to have some medicine ball set up over here. All they're going to do for weighting it, they're going to crush the medicine ball, so pressing in on the sides of it. We're going to slide our foot back, same thing, adding a little bit of weight there, a little bit of challenge there. If they have trouble with the slider, they cannot, if they have some stability issues or anything like that, what we can do is reverse lunge. So for that, we're just going to go back, and we're only going to do one side, so we're not alternating the same side back and forth. And then the last thing we can do, if people have some more stability issues or any issues with the stepping, we can do a split squat, so we can grab a stick from the bin over there, or if they need to, they can also come over and just hold onto the wall and just do a split squat over here as well. So that's a little bit more stability if they are needing that. And so you try to go heavy if you can with using those medicine balls over here. So that's the 4th station. This station is going to be over here on this side of the turf. For this, we're going to have close grip push-ups. So what we're going to do for this, in our push-up position here, what I like to tell people is hands in the diamond and then a little bit wider. It kind of gives them an idea of where to be. So, or you could just say hands closer under your shoulders there. But hands are going to be close. Then what we're doing, just like regular push-up, hips in line, lowering our body down, and then we're keeping our elbows close to our body the whole time. So elbows are tight, all the way down and back up. Same thing as a regular push-up. Just hands are closer, elbows are tight to our sides. We do have 2 modifications as well. If people have struggled with that, we're going to do band assisted. So with the band, we have a band. When we do this, we really want to teach them to get into the band since it is a little bit tough. So teach them to get in the band, grab it, pull it down around their waist, and then step back, forward, same thing, hands close, elbows are tight all the way down and back up. So same thing there. The band will offer a little bit of assistance if they need it there. Bend the out of the band, grab the sides, push down, and then bring it overhead. Then the last thing we can do if they still have trouble is go from our knees. So right here to their knees, same thing, down and up. Do try to get people to use the band. Try to avoid having them on their knees as much as you can, but if they have to do it from their knees, they can do that as well. So that is it for the main workout. We do have a finisher today. The way that it is going to work, we're going to have 3 exercises that we're going to do. It's going to be a 4-minute AMRAP. The way the reps will work, we're going to do 10 of the first exercise, 20 of the second, and 30 of the third, and I'll go through those in just a minute here. So that's how the reps are going to work, 4 minutes, as many rounds as we can. So the first thing we have, we're going to do 10 total of these, is going to be leg lowers. So they're going to be on our back here, heads flat, back is flat. This is the main version that we're going to do. Our legs are going to be all the way up here, feet are going to be flexed in, then we're lowering one leg, and then we're alternating. So right above the ground, alternating sides. With this, just want to make sure people are keeping their head flat, their back flat, and they're only moving one leg at once. We don't want people going like this. Right? What we want is one leg down, back up, other leg down, and back up. Right? So that is the main version. We have some modifications. If you want to challenge them, they can go into a hollow hold. So arms are long, head is up. Make sure their eyes are looking straight up here. Then adding that little bit of challenge. It's a little bit harder there. And then if they need a little bit of assistance, what we can do is grab a band or a strap here, get it around one foot, and then do an assisted single leg lower. So one leg a little down. With this one, they are just going to do one leg, and then next round they get back, then they'll do the other leg. So we're doing 10 total for the normal version. If they have to do assisted, we're going to do 10 on one leg, the next round 10 on the other. So that's the first thing. Second thing is going to be side plank hip lift. So for these, they're going to be pretty quick. If they need to, they can grab a mat or a pad for these. They're going to be on a side plank here. They're laying down, and they're going to go up and down. So they're just tapping the ground, going up and down. Now, these will be quick. Like I said, you just want to make sure that they're actually tapping and then getting all the way up in their side plank. We do not want them just going like this. All right, we want tap, all the way up, tap, all the way up. Now, if they have trouble with that, they can go from their knees, so a little bit easier, up and down. And then the last modification we have is going to be heel to heel touch. This is people who really have trouble with this position. So for that, they're going to be on their back, head is up, and then they're just reaching for their heels. But again, that would be only if they really have trouble in that position. That one probably isn't even, don't need to demo it. Just keep that in your mind. If they need to do it, they can, but just demo the side plank, 2 versions we have for that. With the side planks, we are going to do 20 on one side, and then next round, they will do 20 on the other side. So 20 on one side of those. Then the third thing we have is going to be Spiderman planks. So for these, they're going to be in a plank here, or like this, good plank position. They're going to bring their knee up, outside their elbow, and then they're just going side to side. So they're going to go quick with these. They're going to do 30 total of them. The biggest thing here is just make sure we're not rotating our body when we do this. Right? We don't want to be doing that. We want our knee coming outside, and then outside, just like that. Now, if we have trouble with that, most people should be able to, but if we do have trouble, we can do cardio climbers as well. So a little bit easier, just going alternating sides, just like this. So a little bit easier if they have trouble with the Spiderman planks there. We're going to do 30 total of those. So again, the finisher, 4-minute AMRAP. They're going to do 10 total of the leg lowers. They're going to do 20 on one side of the side planks, side plank hip lifts, and then 30 total of the Spiderman planks, as many rounds as they can, in the 4 minutes. And that is going to be the workout, and then the finisher for Monday, phase 12.